Welcome to the World of Horror podcast with Mom and Mac. I'm Mom.
And I'm Mac.
This is the podcast where we share our love of international horror. Everyone has their fears, but we are not afraid of subtitles. Disclaimers for adult language and spoilers. Hi, Mac. How's it going?
Hi, Mom. It's going pretty good. I today and yesterday did a bunch of shopping for a wedding I'm going to, and I want to tell you a fun story. I think you'll like this about the place I got the suit from. Alan and I met the best clothing salesman of all time.
Really?
Yes, because, well, I've never bought a suit before, and not to be depressing, but it is something I'm sad I never got to learn how to do with Dad, because he was such a fastidious dresser that I know he also would have gotten a kick out of showing me. So I think there's a lot of feelings I have about doing that whole process, but the wedding is 25 days away. So I was like, okay, I got to do it though. So first I went to Nordstrom, worst salesman ever, because the guy just I found a mauve that I liked, and he was like, well, that's actually a different company. You would have to schedule with them. All right, have a good day shop. Why wouldn't you tell me what other things you have? So I left, and then Alan was like, oh, well, here's this place, Ticknor's. That's very expensive. But walked in, this guy immediately was like, welcome, how are you guys doing today? What's your name? And so he got both of our names, and I was like, well, I'm shopping for a wedding. I've never gotten a suit before. And this man had such an attention to detail. He was so psyched about finding something. I feel like if he's acting, give him an Oscar, because he found all this stuff, and he's like, and also, okay, I was just wearing your basic jacket and sweatpants. And he was like, now, Mac, I get the sense from you that you like bright colors. Am I right? I was like, how did you know this? And so he found something, and I ended up choosing a burgundy, but they have to special order it, and then I'll come back and get it all tailored. So that was actually done within 5 seconds, but he was like, well, let me show you some other things I've got. And at first I thought, oh boy, I got to tell this guy to get lost. But he found this beautiful orange with a brown denim, and I'm trying to kind of nuke my wardrobe and get a bunch of basics, because I just feel like I never have really hit my stride when it comes to men's clothing. And so I tried it on, and it was it looked so good, and him and Alan were hyping me up. He finds stuff for Alan, who's not even looking, and then Alan tries it on, and I can tell he's really feeling himself, looking at, and he looks surprised. And Alan mentioned a detail of because Alan had apparently checked a tag to see how expensive it was. And this guy clocked it, found him specifically something that was half off to try on.
Oh,
and somehow knew the exact, he picked colors that I think are very flattering on Alan. And then, as Alan's getting changed, he's asking me, he was like, how did you guys meet? And then we're talking about OkCupid. And then later he asked me my pronouns. Cause at first I was like, how did he figure it out? But it's because I was like, do you have shoes? And I was like, I don't know what shoe size I am. I know I'm a women's 8. And I said later to Alan, I was like, was that it? He was like, yeah. that was probably it. That's probably what did it. I was like, what? You think men this short wouldn't just wear women's shoes? And he was like, I think they would know what their men's shoe size was. I was like, damn it. But it was very nice of him to ask. We love that. I always try to make the experience whenever somebody asks me my pronouns, I try to make it the best experience ever. I'm always like, and thank you for asking, thanks for being a bro. He's telling us I'll put you guys' sizes in the database. So if you want to come and do some Christmas shopping for each other, that's already in there. He was, and, okay, y'all don't judge me for how much money we spent. $2,000. Because the suit was half of that. But I thought I'll keep this suit forever. I'll wear it to any fancy event. And then I want to invest in like a good wardrobe. I would like,
yes.
because I've just been doing a lot of Target and like, it's just not well made. So, it's an investment. It was way more than I was thinking of, but then I thought self-care. I don't know. And
I feel like, I feel like you've shopped at Target like your whole life though. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I think it's one thing if you've spent $2,000 at Target, but
that's true.
No, this is like just spending money just to spend money. I mean, this is for a definite purpose. And I think it's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a great experience. He was so nice. And then today, because it's a half desi wedding, or like the first day will be a desi wedding, and then the second will be like a cocktail reception. So this was for that. But at first we were just going to order online because the bride recommended that we get more traditional outfits, which I was all down to do. But then I was talking to my friend Minermal about it, and she was like, no, I know a store and I will take you guys. And she took us to the store, and she was so great. Like she actually knew the lady who worked there. She apparently like had lived in the same neighborhood as her. And she was just like our liaison. Like she was like, I think that they're looking for these colors actually and stuff, and would go over and be like, they need another size. And it was so nice of her. So Alan got this stunning orange color, and I finally got my mauve with these like golden buttons. I'll send you a picture once we get them. But
oh wow,
so it was fun.
That's so great.
Yeah, it was so nice of her. She was like, "Oh, I didn't even do anything." I was like, "Girl, you did everything." So thank goodness for nice people.
Yeah, that's a great story, Mac.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, WoHos. I got on the mic and I was like, I don't have anything.
Well, this just happened. So, this happened yesterday and today. So perfect, just in time.
Yes. I love it when that happens. Yeah, I've been actually my two closest colleagues at work and I are all really down on our work situation. And today I was meditating and I was like, what would it be like if I just said I love my job? I don't love my job, but what would it be like if I just tried to trick myself into believing that? And it made me feel a little better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there are elements that I really do love. I mean, I think if I hated every single element of my job, I would have to quit. But, there are elements that really make it worthwhile. I don't know if I ever sent you that letter, Mac. I'll have to send it to you later. But I got this really loving email from this guy that I worked with last semester, and he got into a program at UNC. But he said something, I mean, it's the best letter I've ever gotten, and from a student. So that kind of stuff. You don't get that in other jobs. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot.
I think it's definitely worth a try. And I think you're so right that like your attitude, obviously there's situations you can't it's not like something you could do for everything, but I think for something like your job that you're spending so much time at, it's worth to try to like see the good in it. Just so you don't feel miserable too. And I think there's a definite way to like make your whole situation better by like being aggressively like, I'm going to enjoy myself. I've made the choice. I'm going to try to do this.
Yeah, I think that's the element that's been lacking, because I've told myself, like I'll tell myself, okay, Thanksgiving's coming up pretty soon. That's a break. After that, I've got like 2 weeks of instruction. Then I get like a bigger break, and then my schedule is going to be different in January, but I think I'm going to like my schedule better. So that'll be something to look forward to. So I've got all that going on, but I think the idea of just enjoying myself no matter what. Like if I'm laughing, if I am amused, I don't really care like what's going on with my students. Of course I do, but I was telling you off mic that I'm this thing with the non-talkers continues, and so I'm just having to come up with like different activities that'll get them talking to each other. So I can lecture for a little bit and then give them an activity, then they can work on it. And then what I would do after that usually is debrief. They won't do that with me unless they write it out. So fine, that's fine. So that's the way we'll do it. So now I just have to find, various activities and stuff that I wouldn't normally do. But that's okay. I think it's making me a better teacher.
I mean, that I was just about to say, like, that's amazing though. Like, there's so many people I think who just are so rigid, and they're more like, I think when we let go of control a little bit and we more pivot, you're just happier than if you just keep trying the thing that's not working. And I feel like that makes you a great teacher because you do care about their experiences, and you're not just saying like, I've definitely been in classes where I can tell they are just doing it the same way every time and they're frustrated at us. And I mean, nobody can help that there's a whole generation of kids who, were kept inside at a formative period in their life. So I feel like it's really special so thoughtful. I think, even though I know it's an annoying situation, it's still, I think, really thoughtful to like work with them.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. And I think I could, very easily just be like, fuck it, I'm done. And just like check out emotionally. But, it's my time too. Like, so I feel like, yeah. So I'm glad I had that thought. I'm just got to put it into practice, and I'll report back later. So weird. Like, I've just never had this experience before. And I've been doing this for a while. So it's just kind of,
I wonder,
I guess I just got.
Oh, I was just going to say, I just wonder what they would think is if they came in and the Gen Z Stare Wikipedia was just like up there and you were like, so I've just been working on how best to handle you guys. I was just imagining them being like, wait a second.
What I wish I could do is I wish I could take pictures of them, and then just intersperse them into my slide decks.
That's so funny. So this makes me feel like this. Yeah, maybe they don't know.
It's just, I did say a couple of days ago, I said, you guys really don't like talking in the class. And then that somebody did speak up. But, so I'm like, I feel like they've got to know what they're doing. But maybe they don't. Maybe they're just like so like siloed in their own reality. They have no idea that, I'm just staring out at this like sea of blank faces.
God, you're very strong. I gotta say, you're very strong.
Thank you. It's interesting. I was talking to somebody who was saying a lot of the same things. She's experiencing a lot of the same things that I am, but she's like, but they're so cruel. And I'm like, what? Because I don't find that. I think they're very sweet, but I don't, I'm not having that experience. So
thank God.
I'm grateful for that at least. Yeah.
What's cruel? Like, what are they doing?
They're laughing at things that are tragic.
No.
Yeah.
That does
there
remind
are a lot
me.
of thought experiments.
Oh, what were you saying?
There are a lot of thought experiments in ethics that are pretty grim. So I could totally see it, but I'm not having that experience. So I'm just really grateful for that.
There was a time I used to give presentations in college about like relationship violence or like other feminists, or not like feminist topics, relationship violence, all this stuff. And one time me and this other girl in the group or in the club did it for the international dorm. And I actually ended it early because they were all Australian. Hey, if you're Aussie and you're listening, I know these like 10 kids don't represent you, but those were the first 10 Aussies I met in person. So unfortunately, for a few years, they did represent you. They were just laughing, like just straight laughing at the idea of relationship violence. And like, we're talking about boundaries and stuff, and they're laughing at the idea of boundaries. And I just remember being like, okay, so you guys don't care. So I'll just save all of our times and we'll just leave. And they laughed us out of there. But I'm glad I didn't finish it because why put myself through that humiliation for like another 15 minutes? I was shocked because we used to do it for like frats and they would just sit there very politely and listen. So I was shocked.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good for you for getting out of there because there's, in a situation like that, there's no, I mean, that's what happens with my non-talkers. It'll be like, I don't know, 5 minutes before the hour. And I'll be like, yep, this is about the time where you completely shut down. So let's call it a day. We're just going to cut it off right there.
I just
I'm
can't
trying
fathom.
not to be like sarcastic and mean, but
it's probably hard not to.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Well, who are also sarcastic and mean?
Courtney's kind of sarcastic and mean.
I would say the whole town. They're all pretty mean.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty mean. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realized there's a bit of a tone difference. Like, I mean, I like it. I really like the tone of Paranorman, but there are some sarcastic and mean people in Paranorman.
So, WoHos, we had so much fun with our feel-good fall films last time. We decided to do 2 more feel-good fall films. And the first one of these is Paranorman. The short plot summary from IMDb says, a misunderstood boy takes on ghosts, zombies, and grown-ups to save his town from a centuries-old curse. It was directed by Sam Fell and Chris Butler, and it was written by Chris Butler. It stars Cody Smith-McPhee, Tucker Albritzi, Anna Kendrick, Casey Affleck, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Leslie Mann, Jeff Garlin, Elaine Stritch, Bernard Hill, Jadelle Ferland, Tempest Bledsoe, Alex Borstein, and John Goodman. Cinematography is by Tristan Oliver and edited by Christopher Murray. Music is by John Bryan. The release dates were August 3rd, 2012 in Mexico and August 17th, 2012 in the United States. This has a running time of 93 minutes. How did you feel about this runtime, Mac?
Pretty perfect. Could maybe even be shorter, dare I say. But yeah, I think still pretty perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So we have another stop motion animation film, WoHos. And I thought I was confusing this with something else. And then I realized, nope, this is the one I was thinking of all along. So
we love this movie.
A sweet, sweet film. In the small town of Blythe Hollow, Massachusetts, Norman Babcock is an 11-year-old outcast who speaks with the dead, including his late grandmother, and various ghosts in town. Okay, I love the setup for this because
Me
in the
too.
beginning, he's watching a horror film with his grandma, and we don't know that she's dead. And the horror film itself is just an amazing tour de force. I guess it was modeled on Night of the Living Dead and Halloween. So I could sort of see that.
I love it when the lady in the movie like screams and then like looks at the camera and then like continues screaming.
The zombie's walking so slowly toward her. Yeah. So amazing. And then Grandma's like, why are they carrying on like that? And he's like, oh, Grandma, because the zombies are in town. She's like, well, I think if they would just sit down and talk with each other, they could work some things out. So she's a sweet angel. But nobody believes him that this is his experience. And when we see it from his point of view, his grandma has this sort of green glow around her. And then when he's walking down the street, it just kind of looks like he's talking to himself. But we know that he's talking to all these dead people. And
that scene brings like a tear to my eye, honestly.
Me too.
It's so sweet. And that song itself, it's called Norman's Walk. And I actually listen to that song all the time because it's so melancholy and but also kind of full of hope. It's like, it's so bittersweet because, this poor kid, even his own dad is like such a fucking asshole to him, which I like. Like, I think more movies should depict unfortunate living situations like this because I'm sure it's quite relatable to a lot of people. And so then it's like no wonder he finds such solace in this world where there's all these ghosts who are like, hi, Norman, like the life that he should be living of like, instead of townspeople looking at him like, oh, there's the freak walking by. So it's like both sad, but it's also kind of sweet because at least he has this like nice thing.
Almost no one believes him, and he is isolated emotionally from his family while being looked down upon by his peers around the school. On his locker is written the word freak, and a couple lockers down is written fatty on this other boy's locker. So kneel down, an overweight boy who is also bullied finds in Norman a kindred spirit. After rehearsing a school play commemorating the town's execution of a witch 3 centuries ago, the boys are confronted by Norman's estranged and seemingly deranged great-uncle Mr. Prendergast, who tells Norman that he soon must take up his regular ritual to protect the town.
And this guy, another thing I love is the models in this movie. Like, like the drama teacher, like she's got like some sort of like carpal tunnel cast on her hand. And like, you can see there's like discoloration in her fingers. And on Mr. Pendergast too, like his color is so mottled and kind of gross, but in such a pleasing to the eye way. Like it kind of in some ways reminds me of Invader Zim, where like the designs of everything and everybody is just like 20% bleak, where it's a little bit of a cynical view, I think, of the world and people, but I like it. It works, I think, for the movie. Yeah.
Soon after this encounter, Mr. Prendergast dies of a heart attack. Like, he is at home, and I don't know exactly what spurs the heart attack. Oh, he's having a coughing fit. And he, I guess in an earlier version of the script, he was going to be reaching for a cigarette, but people thought that was a little too dark. But he's got a smoker's cough, and he falls over, and his spirit like halfway leaves his body for a second, and then it returns to his body. And then it does actually like leave his body fully. And he's like, oh man, when he realizes he has actually passed away.
I love the way like the animation is so smooth. It's almost like his spirit, like it's like like a a gaseous thing getting squeezed out of a container. Like he kind of spins around in the air a little bit. It's and he like looks down at his body. Yeah, because at first he's like, "Yes, okay," and then just immediately dies.
During the official performance of the school play, Norman has a nightmarish vision of the town's past in which he is pursued through the woods by townsfolk on a witch hunt, embarrassing himself and leading to a heated argument with his paranoid father Perry, who later grounds him. Yeah. So it's like the modern reality kind of is like burned away until it's kind of this burning away effect. And so it's like he's transported back in time.
And the people are like, he's the witch. Like they're like, witch, get him. Which is probably how he feels in his daily life too.
And his sweet friend Neil is a tree with his arms stuck out to the side. So sweet. Neil is a sweetheart. He's bullied, but he doesn't let it get him down.
Like Norman's like, what, like, why do they bully you? And he's like, well, it's probably because I'm fat and also because I have all these allergies and I have irritable bowel syndrome. So probably one of those. Like, he's just so like, whatever.
His mother, Sandra, tells him that his father's manner is stern because he is afraid for him. And there's a little back and forth about this. He's like, she says, he's just afraid. And then Norman says, he shouldn't be afraid of me. And she said, no, he's afraid for you. And I thought that was very sweet. But Norman doesn't really accept that either. The next day, Norman sees Prendergast's spirit, who tells him, well, he not only sees it, it like comes up through the toilet.
And like the bully played by Christopher Mintz-Plasse is in the neck. Alvin, he's like in the next stall and he just kind of thinks Norman's like having a tough time on the toilet. Like water comes out of the toilet. He's like, ew. And he's just writing his name, but I think he's misspelled it at first, so he like crosses it. I love him.
Me too. Poor dumb Alvin. The next day, Norman sees Prendergast's spirit, who tells him that the ritual must be performed with a certain book before sundown that day. Then, making him swear to complete the task, Prendergast's spirit is set free and crosses over. Norman is at first reluctant to go because he is scared, but his grandmother tells him it's all right to be scared as long as he does not let it change who he is.
I love the grandma.
Me too.
She's so sweet.
What a great line. That's so deep, I can't hardly take it. Norman sets off to retrieve the book from Prendergast's house, having to take it from his corpse.
This movie's so gross. Like the body, like he like wrests it from him, but then it falls on top and his mouth opens and his nasty dead tongue hits him in the face. Ugh, poor Norman.
He then goes to the graves of the 5 men and 2 women who were cursed by the witch, but finds that the book is merely a series of fairy tales. Alvin, a school bully who always picks on Norman, arrives and prevents Norman from reading the story before sundown. Norman attempts to continue reading from the book, to no effect. A ghostly storm resembling the witch appears in the air, summoning the cursed dead to arise as zombies, who chase the boys along with Neil, Norman's 17-year-old sister Courtney, and Neil's older brother Mitch, down the hill and into town.
I love Mitch.
Me
Mitch
too.
is so great.
What did you say the other day? Shaped like a Dorito? This guy is
Yes.
definitely shaped like a Dorito.
He's a great foil, I feel like, for Neil. Like Neil, is just this cute little fat kid, and then his brother is like this big hulking like jock who's so stupid. And Neil is also very stupid, but just in a different way. And like Courtney is so sassy the whole movie, but then as soon as she's in the presence of Mitch, she just I feel like it's not quite seen in many movies, this dynamic of like girl trying, to impress guy who's just so utterly like not paying attention to her at all. Like, all these things.
No.
She's like, "Oh, and I love my younger brother Norman." Like, and he's just like, "Okay."
Yeah, couldn't care less. Having realized that the witch was not buried at the graveyard, Norman contacts classmate Salma, who tells them to access the town hall's archives for the location of the witch's unmarked grave for help. I love her.
Me too. I wish she was more in the movie.
Yeah, me too. The brainy friend.
Mm-hmm.
As the kids make their way to the town hall, the zombies are attacked by the citizenry. Yeah, it's so crazy.
They go crazy on these zombies. These town folks could, if a zombie apocalypse did break out, these guys could handle themselves for sure.
Yeah, definitely. During the riot, Norman and his companions break into the archives but cannot find the information they need. As the mob moves to attack Town Hall, the witch storm appears over the crowd. Norman climbs the hall's tower to read the book, in a last-ditch effort to finish the ritual, but the witch strikes the book with lightning, hurling Norman from the tower and deep into the archives.
I love when the drama teacher sees him and goes, "Necromancer!" She's so great. Like at one point, I forgot to mention when they're doing like the audition or the practice, the rehearsal, when Norman's reading his part, he's just, like, "We sentence you to these things." She's like, "No, you must read it like this." And she just goes into this crazy monologue, like your typical drama teacher who just wants to be the star. I love that.
Unconscious, Norman has a dream where he learns that the witch was Agatha Aggie Prendergast, a little girl of his age and a distant relative who was also a medium. Norman realizes that Aggie was wrongfully convicted by the town council when they mistook her powers for witchcraft. After awakening, Norman encounters the zombies and recognizes them as the town council who convicted Aggie. The zombies and their leader, Judge Hopkins, admit they only wanted to speak with him to ensure that he would take up the ritual to minimize the damage of the mistake they made so long ago. Norman attempts to help the zombies slip away so they can guide him to Aggie's grave, but is cornered by the mob. Courtney, Mitch, Neil, and Alvin rally to Norman's side and confront the crowd, arguing that their rage, fear, and misunderstanding make them no different from the cursed townsfolk from long ago. Although the mob realizes the error of their ways, the witch unleashes her powers to create greater havoc throughout the town.
It's really like morbid when you realize, because when we see the town at first, it's kind of like the Bigfoot town. It's like they've made their whole identity around this witch, and like she's always depicted as your typical green, nasty looking, warty witch. And there's like all these storefronts that are all about hanging a witch, and like she's smiling while she's getting hung from a tree. And then to learn that it was like this murder of a child, and like it's just been commodified in this town is so like sad.
Yes. So that's like so dark. Judge Hopkins guides Norman's family to the grave in a forest, Before the grave is reached, Aggie's magical powers separate Norman from the others. Norman finds the grave and interacts with Aggie's vengeful ghost, determined to stop the cataclysmic tantrum she has been having over the years. Though she attempts to push him away, Norman holds his ground, telling her that he understands how she feels as an outcast, that her vengeance has only made her like the ones who wronged her, causing her to remember happier days. This part is so sweet.
Makes me cry. She's saying like they're at a beautiful tree and she's like, I remember this tree. Like, you know, my mom told me like stories and then they took her away from me. It's like so sad. This poor little girl.
Having finally encountered someone who understands her plight, and by remembering her caring mother, Aggie is able to find a measure of peace and cross over to the afterlife. The storm dissipates, and she, the zombies, and even the judge all fade away. The town cleans up and regards Norman as a hero. Yeah, it's just really beautiful. When she is having this tantrum, as this writer puts it, she is glowing white. Like her rage is so hot. And she's all like jaggedy edges. And I just love that portrait of her.
It's so scary. And she's like like she's yelling so loud and, you know, she's so rightfully upset. And like at first the insinuation of just like, what, like, why shouldn't I punish these guys, you know? Yeah, like that, the whole memory of her as the monstrous form of herself sticks out so much in my memory. It's such a memorable thing.
And then when she goes into the afterlife, she's just this like soft, wispy, golden light that goes off to the other side. Oh my God, I got choked up. That's what I remembered. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Even the old guys getting to pass on, I think, is pretty bittersweet too, because I really love the scene where they talk to Norman because they genuinely just seem so like we were so scared, but that was so wrong, and like this is our punishment, yeah, but it'd be great if you could help us out a little bit. But even getting to see them finally like you know, they don't get to go out as heroes or anything. It's just like a bittersweet, like now they're gone too.
Mm-hmm. In the end, Norman watches a horror film with his family and the ghost of his grandmother, who have grown to accept Norman for who he is.
It made me cry when the dad is sitting on the couch and he asks Norman, like, so is like my mom sitting like right there? And Norman's like, yep. And he just goes like, hey, mom. And like the grandma kind of looks at Norman like, wow, okay. I just thought that was really sweet because it's like special for the dad too. Like, you know, getting to communicate with his mom. Like there's so many layers to this of like Norman, through Norman, he's also probably coming to some peace with himself too. So.
And that was kind of cool with the meeting with Neil in the beginning, because Neil's like, can you talk to the dead? And he's like, yep. And he's like, can you talk to my dead dog? And he's buried in the backyard. And, you know, he just like goes with it. I just love that. And he's like playing fetch with his dead dog. And
who's like bifurcated, like the dog was ran over.
Yeah. I think people who do stop motion must be a little bit like, have kind of a dark sense of humor.
For real.
Doesn't it seem like it?
Yeah.
There is an after-credits scene showing in time-lapse the designing and construction on a workbench of the Norman character, which ends with Norman coming to life as if waking from sleep and leaving the scene. Did you see that?
I don't remember that. No, I didn't stick around.
But we both bought it, right? So we can watch it
yeah, we can go watch it
want.
later.
Animating the cheesy horror film that Norman is watching at the start of the movie was reportedly very difficult for the filmmakers, as they had to intentionally make a bad film, bad camera angles, poor focus, bad acting, etc., while still working in the very technically demanding confines of stop-motion animation. Grandma's ghostly wardrobe was up for debate early on, but the final choice was ultimately inspired by Estelle Getty's tracksuit from The Golden Girls. John Goodman, Mr. Prendergast, and Christopher Mintz-Plasse Alvin share the same birthday, June 20th, but were born 37 years apart from each other. Goodman was born in 1952 and Mintz-Plasse was born in 1989.
Wow.
So he's Sammy's age.
Aw, yeah, and not that close, or not that far away in, like, actual day of birth.
Yeah. Neil's older brother, Mitch, the typical dumb jock, is the first openly gay animated character in a kids movie.
I mean, it is like just one line, so it is kind of so crazy that that's such a big deal. Of like, at the very end, you know, Courtney's like, "Do you want to see a movie?" And he's like, "Yeah, you should come with me and my boyfriend. He's a total chick flick nut." And like, that's it. And that somehow is like, oh, history was made today. We don't even see him. It's not like they kiss or anything. It's just Jock has boyfriend. Write that one down in the history books.
Briefly, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? Alex K gave it a 0.5 star. Why did Zach remind me of this movie? It sucked. Even Mini-Me hated this.
Oh, God.
Sam Swain gave it a 0.5 star. I still get PTSD from this movie. My mom forcing 6-year-old me to watch this should be classed as child cruelty.
The poor mom. She's probably like, let me turn you on to some good cinema, kid.
So there weren't that many, 0.5-star reviews. So that's a good sign. Maddie D006 gave it 1 star. This movie was utterly terrifying, and I'm 19 years old.
That's, to me, a 5-star review.
I know. Alice Loves Movies gave it 5 stars. If you don't like this movie, I hate you.
I wouldn't go that far, but I would be curious as to somebody who genuinely did not like the movie.
Dell gave it 5 stars. Please, I forgot how good this movie is. The humor holds up over 10 years later, as does the stop-motion animation. Talk about talent. I literally cried like a baby, too. Any movie that can make me both laugh and cry will always be one of my favorites. Such a great plot, even better execution, 10 out of 10.
I would say, like, line for line, that would be my review, too, is watching it again. I was like, in my mind, I had forgotten a lot, but I had put it under the folder of just amazing movies. And that is how I felt. And I laughed out loud and I cried. I love this movie.
Fiona Has Wings gave it 5 stars. I still remember every movie that marked my childhood, and this one felt like a hug when I needed it the most.
Bro, that's so sweet.
I know. So, how would we rate it? Should we rate it in old-timey pilgrim hats?
Yeah, I'd give it 5 of them.
Me too. It's so good.
No notes. It's just perfect.
What have we learned?
I would say, and this is true, I think, for everybody, if there's something in the world that makes you deeply uncomfortable, you should assess that within yourself to learn why that is, because I do believe that there's probably something you got to be dealing with. Like, I truly believe anybody who's like dedicated to hating something, that thing they secretly love or something like that, because why else are you spending so much time with it? And I think the whole, like, we fear what we don't understand. I think the world will become a lot less scary, maybe, if you try to learn what makes you yourself uncomfortable and work through that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I love it how they all come together at the end, and it is such an unlikely group of people. And so I guess I would say don't shut yourself off from people you might not automatically think would be a part of your circle.
Yeah.
Would we watch it again? Yep.
Today. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite scene, Mac?
That walk scene in the very beginning when it goes from him, how we would see Norman talking to the air versus his world full of life in death. That's so beautiful.
And I'll take the last scene with Aggie at the tree. I'm getting choked up again.
It's beautiful.
It really is. It really is stunning. Who wins the You Fool Award? It's got to be Norman's
the judge.
dad. Oh.
I'll take it back in time. You could have prevented becoming a zombie had you just not killed a child. Yeah,
I think you're right.
But also the dad, because like, bro, you know, if you are afraid for your son and that's how you're treating him, all he's getting is my dad hates me. So good job.
Get it together.
Get it together.
So that was Paranorman.
Yippee! Now for our next film in our Feel Good Fall series, Turning Red. Y'all, this gotta be one of my most favorite movies of all time, so I will never accept any slander for this movie. I can't believe I have to say that, but I have to say that because the first thing I ever knew about this movie was a bunch of people saying how awful it was. And then I watch it and then I'm like, well, this is quite literally healing. This has got to be one of the most amazing depictions of what it's like to be a teenage girl I've ever seen. I was a teenage girl. It's a little bit like my childhood, a little bit around that time. And I think if like there was drama about the fact that, oh no, they talk about periods in the movie, something almost half of everybody on the planet will go through. Oh, crazy. I can't believe we're talking about that. Anyways, I don't want to focus on the hate this movie got, but I'll just say I feel it makes me definitely like it more, the fact that it has gotten hate, because I'm like, don't you talk about my movie that way. So this is Turning Red. Here's the short plot summary from IMDb. A 13-year-old girl named Mei Lee is torn between staying her mother's dutiful daughter and the changes of adolescence. And as if the challenges were not enough, whenever she gets overly excited, Mei transforms into a giant red panda. It was directed by Domei Shi, with screenplay by Julia Cho, Domei Shi, with story by Domei Shi, Julia Cho, and Sarah Stryker. It stars Rosalie Chang, Sandra Oh, Ava Morse, Hyen Park, Maitreyi Ramakrishnan, and Orion Lee, with cinematography by Mayar Abusaidi and Jonathan Pitko, edited by Nicholas C. Smith, Steve Bloom, with music by Ludwig Göransson, and songs by Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell. Release date March 1st, 2022 at the El Capitan Theater, March 11th, 2022 on Disney+, and February 9th, 2024 in the US, with a runtime of 100 minutes, though this is beyond my usual length. Perfect runtime.
It really does sting. Like it I don't know what could have been cut out of this film.
No, it's just like jam-packed in the best way. God, I love this movie. So in 2002 Toronto, 13-year-old Mei Lee lives with her parents, Ming and Jin, and helps take care of her family's temple dedicated to her maternal ancestor, Sun Yi, and works to make her mother proud. I mean, it literally starts with this picture of her holding up something for her mom, being like, children are meant to serve their parents. Like, I love the depiction of this family, because I feel like whenever there's a depiction of like this sort of dynamic, it's portrayed as like life is miserable, nothing is good, but like they do fun stuff. Like, seems like she has a very full life with her family. It's just that her mom is very controlling, but we come to find out why that is. But I like that her life is joyous. It's just that there is this dynamic that will soon become toxic. And she's depicted as almost being kind of like brainwashed, of just like, well, I like it actually. I like that I can't hang out with my friends because it means I get to spend more time with my parents. And I feel like that's more like how it is. Like, you know, I love Paranorman, but to just like compare, I think a child being so emotionally intelligent to be able to say a dad shouldn't be afraid of his child. Like, I think that actually takes a lot of emotional intelligence to be able to recognize something like that. And Mei feels like a true 13-year-old of just being like, well, this is my life and I love it. So why would there be anything wrong? And I just love that. Because they do have fun. Her and her mom have a lot of fun together. You know, she can't go to do karaoke with her friends, which sucks, but you know, she enjoys doing the work in the temple with her mom, and she dresses up as like the red panda. And just the visuals in this movie are so crazy. Beautiful. I love the forever contrasting colors of Mei is always wearing red and her mom is always wearing green, and her dad's this neutral white because he's kind of a doormat, and all of the language speaks so well. She's so cute. Mei is like so adorable. She's always wearing like a cute little skirt with like leggings underneath, and her friends are so cute. I love that she has friends who all love each other. I love how dorky she is. So yeah, we learn about Sun Yi, the maternal ancestor, and how important red pandas are to this family in this temple. And it's kind of like a tourist attraction. But she hides her personal interests from her mom, Ming, such as the fact that she and her friends, Miriam, Priya, and Abby, are fans of the boy band Four Town. They love this boy band. And Four Town, very confusingly, does have 5 members, which I think is such a funny detail. And I love how, like, this is how little kids talk about like crushes, you know, just being like obsessed with them. I have a friend who growing up was like obsessed with Johnny Depp, like obsessed. And yeah, you are just like, well, I'm going to marry him. That super famous star. It's just what's going to happen. I'm going to marry him. If he could meet me, he would want to marry me, is what you think.
I just love all the members of Four Town, though. Like, aren't there 2 of them named Aaron?
Yes. So
they're just sort of off to the side.
And Robert is obviously that's the one for Mei. She loves Robert, which is such a funny name for like a boy band guy. One night when Ming, who is strict and overprotective, discovers Mei's crush on Devin, the 17-year-old local convenience store clerk, she inadvertently humiliates Mei in public. Now, another cinematic scene. First, you know, the girls see this clerk before Mei has to go home, and they're talking about how dreamy he is. And of course, this is the most like teenage looking boy. He's wearing like puka shell necklace, boat hat, just sitting, like doing nothing, but they're like, oh my God, he's so hot. So then, you know, when she gets home doing homework, Mei's like doodling him. and then like kind of just has a moment where she's just like, oh my God, and rolls under the bed and starts drawing both of them, like him as like a mermaid, him holding her in his arms. And like, again, not to bring up the critiques again, but I saw people saying that this was like, kids don't act like this. They do.
Yeah,
they
they do.
100% do. I drew stuff like this, except me with anime boys. Like, I've never seen something more accurate. And then what a fucking nightmare when her mom comes in, finds it, and like it's just like Mei. There's so many little details. Like Mei knows her mother so well that when her mom walks in, she's thinking like, because she's pushed her notebook under the bed, but it's kind of peeking out, and she's just like, "Don't look at my notebook, don't look." And then she looks, and so then the mom looks and is like, "Well, what's this?" And when she sees the drawing, she's like, who is this boy? What did he do to you? And she, when she finds out it's the clerk, she drives all the way there, brings the fucking pictures. Of course, Tyler from school is there too. And she shows them to Devin, like, what have you been doing with my daughter? And it's like, it actually is the worst thing that could ever happen to you as a 13-year-old. But when they're in the car, Mei is like, just holding all this tension in her body, and she's just like, it's fine, mom. She can't bring herself to say, what the fuck are you doing? Which again, I feel like teenagers are always depicted as like, whatever, mom, blah blah blah, but I think this is a really real experience of like, sometimes growing up just being like, I can't convey my true emotions, like certain, growing up and being taught that like, if you act a certain way, you won't be like the good daughter anymore. Like her mom has so much pride in her that even that night, like she looks in the mirror and she's like, why did you do that? Like you're her pride and joy. Like she's like berating herself in the mirror about, even though her mom's just humiliated her. So I love all that. That night, Mei has a vivid nightmare involving red pandas. Also a great moment where Devin is the mermaid again, but now he's turned into sushi. Very terrifying. And when she wakes up the next morning, she finds that she has transformed into a large red panda. Now, this got to be one of the best depictions of how it feels like to go through puberty as a girl I've ever seen. I was telling a friend the other day that, like, because I kind of went through second puberty with, taking testosterone. And I was remarking how kind of sad it is that all these things that happen when you hit puberty as a girl, you're taught are like things that are bad about you, like getting body hair. Well, now you have to shave that off because you can't, if you're ugly, if you have that, now you smell different. Like, which, I mean, okay, you should wear deodorant. That's just for everybody. And now you're a kid, but now you've got like boobs, which are so eroticized in our like, or you're like gaining weight because you've gone through, it's like all these things that, for girls are just like bad shit you have to deal with. Whereas then if you go on testosterone, it's like, now I've got like more hair. Yes. Like boys kind of just get to have it, like now my voice dropped and I'm manly. Oh, this is awesome. But so Mei is now this giant red panda. She hides from her parents and discovers that she transforms only when she's in a state of high emotion. So when she reverts to her human form, her hair remains red. So she goes to school in a toque. Is that what it is? Toque? A toque. Yes.
A beanie.
Toque, not a toque. Ming initially believes that Mei is experiencing her first period, but learns the truth when she gets into an altercation with the school security guard because like all the kids are like, who's that outside? And it's her mom. And she's just like, oh my God, oh my God. And the mom's like, Mei, you forgot your pads. And so that makes her just like explode into the panda. Of course, everybody's like, what the fuck? And so she runs out of there and escapes. But Ming sees her. So she's now chasing after her, and like Mei's, running through the town, knocking shingles off of roofs, like crying, trying to get home. This is exactly how I felt my first day of high school.
Oh, really?
I remember going home and just sobbing, being like, oh, 4 years of this? Pff, I better pack it in. I watched Dr. Horrible. I drew that last scene of him holding the dead penny, and then I cried.
Oh my gosh.
It was rough. I was just talking about it today with Minermal, how like, because, went from such a small middle school
Yeah.
to, class of like over 1,000 kids. And I remember being in the lunchroom, looking around at a sea of people and knowing I had nowhere to sit and just feeling so just like overwhelmed and sad. And so like, I love that Mei, gets home and is like just crying in bed. I feel like that's a pretty real thing a lot of kids go
Yeah.
through, is just feeling like, fuck my damn life right now. And so Ming and Jin explain that Sun Yi was granted this transformation to protect her daughters and her village during wartime. And so all of her female descendants also have the ability to turn into a red panda. This has become inconvenient and dangerous in modern times, so the red panda spirit must be sealed in a talisman by a ritual on the night of a lunar eclipse, which will take place in 1 month on March 25th. So, like, how convenient that, you can just seal this thing away. But I just love everything this stands for, of like how, like, I'm not going to speak to any different culture that's not my own, but I'll just say what it seems like for this family, like Ming is very like put together, very proper, doesn't seem to allow herself to feel very many heightened emotions. So I feel like this is like some generational shit that's been passed down, of like all the women must, we will not let our natures get control of us, and it's like very shamed. It kind of reminds me a little bit, of like K-pop Demon Hunters, of like this thing that must be kept under control, and nobody will like you if they know this thing about you.
Right.
But Mei's friends go over to her house because they're worried about her, and they discover her transformation, but they love it. They think it's awesome, and they think she's so fluffy and cool. There's like a great scene where she's hugging them all, and she's just like trying to quiet them down and be like, "Don't freak out, okay?" But they're just like, her friend Abby is just like, "You're so fluffy," like hugs her and stuff. And so then this scene really brings a tear to my eye. She finds that concentrating on them enables her to control her transformations. Like, if her happy place is imagining all her friends hugging her in a sea of clouds, saying like, we love you,
Yeah.
and we love the way that you are and stuff. That is so fucking beautiful. Like, I love that, because I know a lot of people do have an experience of maybe not having a lot of friends growing up, but I love this depiction of like, young girl friendships that are just so like for each other, and like will be there for each other in the end. I feel like that speaks to my experience of like having a lot of, having some core friends that really felt like, with these people I will get through life and stuff. And I just find that so beautiful that they can show her that this thing is beautiful, even if like, her parents are telling her like, no, I mean, you're gonna have to seal this thing away. That's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So Mei shows that she can keep the panda under wraps. Like, they have all these tests, like, her mom brings up like, losing the spelling bee. And then the final test is a box full of kittens that are so cute, but she like keeps it under control. And she says to her mom, like, well, I'm just imagining the people that I love most in the world. So of course her mom goes, oh, us. And she goes, yeah, which is so sad, like kind of like, oof. So Ming allows Mei to resume normal life, just so that biding their time until the ritual. But when Mei learns that Four Town is coming to Toronto on the 18th, Mei does this whole like PowerPoint presentation of like why I should go to Four Town, but her mom's just like, no, like, what, and why are there 5 of them? And like, I don't like that, like this gyrating, like she's so like against it, which, and it's also $200. So she's just like absolutely not. You will never go to this. And all the other girls, their moms are also, or, you know, their parents are like, you know, they won't let them go. So they decide to secretly raise money for the tickets at school by exploiting the popularity of Mei's red panda form and lying to Ming, saying that Mei is actually doing an after-school mathletes thing. So there's a really great sequence where it plays one of, because Four Town, the songs that Billie Eilish wrote are so good. Sometimes I just listen to them for fun. So one of those songs plays at this great like sequence where the girls are just having so much fun, and like people in school love the red panda so much, and they're selling buttons and t-shirts. They don't let Tyler in to take photos because he's been such a butthead. And I do love that. I do feel like you have rivalries with people in school. Like he tries to get in and there's a sign that just says no Tylers. No Tylers. Which he kind of deserves a little bit. And yeah, that whole sequence is so cute. And they're like taking this cute camcorder video, just being gross kids dancing to Four Town and just like having, you know, some amazing fun. But they need to raise the last $100. So Tyler asks them to attend his birthday party. And he's like, yeah, I'll give you the money. Which I love that he's just like casually rich. Like he lives in this giant mansion and he's like, nobody's going to come if you're not there. So they decide to do that. Oh, so there's like news footage of, you know, when Mei was running home that Ming's mother, Mei's grandmother, sees. And so she has a very scary call to Ming and we can instantly see like all the resolve and like poise of Ming crumble when she's on the phone with her mom, because she's kind of like, because I think Mei starts having a few times where she kind of blows up. Like she can't really keep some of her inner thoughts hidden anymore now that she's like going through this puberty. And so Ming's kind of like, what has gotten into her? How could she talk to her mother that way? But then as soon as she gets a call from her mom, she's like hiding from it. Like she can't take it. And her mom is even Ming up to the max because she's like super like, you know, very poised and calls and is like, do you have this under control? Like immediately belittling her. And, you know, she's got this really badass scar on her face. And she's like, well, we will be coming, like, you know, me and your aunts will be coming to handle it because I don't think you're capable enough to handle it on your own, which is just says so much about their relationship and why Ming is the way that she is just from like one phone call. So the day of Tyler's birthday party, before Mei leaves, Mei's grandmother and aunties arrive to assist with Mei's ritual. Great scene. All the aunties are like, they're so anti. They're wearing like a tracksuit. You know, they've just the details in this movie are so good. Like everybody's got a personality.
I love all their talismans too. Like
yes,
somebody has a ring and somebody has a necklace and
like a hair clip.
Yeah, and I love the woman with the like little spiky hair. She's my favorite.
She's so cool. That's like such an aunt thing. Like I feel like everybody's got an aunt with short hair. So yeah, that makes Mei late to the birthday party. But you know, then she gets to the party first, not because her grandmother takes her aside and says, because she finds like a bit of red fur. So she's like, you're lying about hiding the panda. The more you release it, the harder it will be to seal when the ritual comes. And so that kind of puts some fear of God into Mei. So when she gets to the birthday party, she shows up in like her box, like red panda outfit that she wears at the temple. But then she just kind of says like, fuck it, because all her friends really want to go to Four Town. And she, you know, becomes the red panda. They have a nice little party. They get the $200, and then her and her friends are sitting on the roof and they discover that the concert will actually be on the night that she is going to undergo the ritual. Abby has misread it. It did not say Toronto. It said Toledo is on the 18th. And then like Tyler tries to get her to do more stuff. And she's like, no, like not right now. And, you know, Tyler then belittles her temple and says like, she's weird. You're in your family's weird temple. So she attacks Tyler, like, you know, full on pounces on him, scratches his face and stuff. And everybody's like, whoa, whoa. And then that's when her family arrives, because like she's hidden like all this stuff under her bed. Her mom finds it, goes over there. So Ming discovers this, you know, she has to apologize for Mei's behavior. You know, Tyler's parents are like, how could you let your daughter do this? And Ming blames all of Mei's friends. You know, she says like, you guys put her up to this. Mei is a good girl. And Mei does not have the power to, you know, come to her friend's defense. And like a very like kid moment, you know, like she just turns her head into her mom, like just letting her do this. And all her friends are like, whoa, hey, what? You know, like, what the heck? So then, you know, there's a very, I think, we don't really see the next week, but I'm sure it's very lonely. Like she's not really talking to her friends and just getting ready for the ritual. So now it's the day of the ritual. And while cleaning, Jin finds the videos she recorded of herself as the red panda with her friends and talks to her. And at first she's like, oh no, like I'll erase it. And he's like, no, like when I look at this, I see you guys having so much fun and, you know, you can do whatever you want, but this side of you, it made me laugh. And that's really special for her. And he mentions that, you know, Ming was, you know, fought with her mom a lot. And it was actually because of Jin, because her mom, the grandma, did not approve of him. And he's like, oh, you should have seen her. Like, you know, he thinks, clearly thought it was amazing. You know, it's probably kind of why he loves her. So during the ritual, Mei's red panda form is about to be sealed. And we see her, she goes kind of into this like, you know, dreamscape full of bamboo, and she's supposed to go through this mirror where she sees the side of her with black hair again, but it kind of means like the panda form gets wrenched from her and she just can't bear to do it. So she you know, escapes the ritual and goes to attend the concert. Like she goes there as her panda form, like soaring through the air and like flies through the air down, spots her friends in the concert and joins them. And in making her escape, she kind of breaks Ming's talisman, which releases her panda form. So at the concert, Mei reconciles with her friends and Tyler, who's there, who's also a Four Townie, and instantly all's forgiven. They're like, you're a Four Townie too? Well, yeah. And like, they're all having the best time. Like the concert's amazing. The boys are wearing like angel wings as they fly through the air, and all of them are like having the best time of their lives. But then Ming, who is like a kaiju sized red panda with like glowing red eyes, just like horrifying, disrupts the concert, intending to take Mei back by force. Like she's like, dun, 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 and like breaks open and like, you know, screams her name. And so Mei and Ming argue about Mei's independence and they start fighting. But in doing so, Mei accidentally knocks her mother unconscious, and the red, you know, lunar eclipse is kind of leaving. So, but they have to get, you know, Mei's mom back into this like ritual circle so they can seal her red panda again. Mei's because I mean, I guess her red panda is at such a gargantuan size that it like maybe would just be too much to like, but like, I guess she can't just release that willy nilly, you know, like she's like building sized. But there's like a great fight where like Mei's trying to distract her mom by like twerking and stuff, being like, yeah, you hate this, like look at this. And Mei's grandmother and aunts also break their talismans to use their red panda forms to help drag Ming into the ritual circle. So now, you know, they need to, I love this scene, they need to like kind of just do like a chant. And so Mei's friend and Four Town join in to complete the ritual, which goes along with like the family's chants, which I just love that scene so much.
Mm-hmm.
So it sends Mei, Ming, and the other women in the family to the astral plane. Mei encounters like a young version of her mom, which like this scene, it like makes me cry like buckets. Like, you know, her mom's crying and, you know, but she's like as a teenager. Ming is talking about that, you know, she fought with her mom and she hurt her. I think she gave her the scar on her face. And so like Mei, you know, consoles her, and they start walking through the bamboo holding hands, and we see just like Ming like go from like, you know, 13 to older to now her as she is today, which is really sweet. And she also helps Ming mend her bond with her own mom, who, you know, basically also apologizes, you know, and she's like, if any of this is because of how I treated you, like, I'm so sorry. And so the other women contain their red pandas and new talismans, but Mei decides to keep hers, and Ming accepts that she is finding her own path, which is so beautiful. So now 1 year later, the Lee family is raising money to repair the damage to the Sky Dome. Their relationship has improved, and Mei balances her temple duties, now using her red panda form as an attraction, and spends time with her friends and Tyler. And there's just like a bittersweet scene where it's like, you know, she's looking back at her mom and like, she's like, you know, part of me misses some of this, but everything changes when you get older, and, you know, but they're okay. It's just things are just different. And like by the end, I'm just like, just like crying. But I just love that ending. It's so sweet. Well, here's some trivia. The number 4 is considered unlucky in Chinese culture. It sounds similar to the word for death in both Mandarin and Cantonese. And this is also true in Japanese as well, because like to die is like shi ne, and then 4 is either yon or shi. So there you go. The family's nickname for Meilin, Mei Mei, is Mandarin for little sister. That's cute. Ming's character was originally written to have been incredibly happy that Mei turned into a red panda because it was a good luck charm for the temple, and she would have planned to monetize Mei's red panda form for profit. The direction for Ming was scrapped due to Domei Shi feeling it made her too much of a one-note villain. Yeah, that would have been a horrible movie. This makes so much more sense. In interviews, director Domei Shi said the film was inspired by 4 Japanese anime, Fruits Basket, Ranma 1/2, Sailor Moon, and Inuyasha, all of which I watched. Ranma 1/2 might be the first manga I ever read. That one is a pretty iconic gender bending story of like this.
Interesting.
Yeah, right? Why would I be interested in that? Of this boy who gets this like curse where I don't remember exactly what it is, but if he gets basically poured hot water on him, he turns into a girl. Cold water turns him back into a boy. So all the hijinks that ensue with that. In Fruits Basket, if the characters get hugged, they get turned into the zodiac animal they are associated with. Sailor Moon obviously transforms. And then Inuyasha, he's just like a dog god guy. Like he might turn into like a dog creature. I don't remember. But yeah, the first 2 share themes of adolescence and transformations in wacky situations. Fruits Basket, probably one of the first anime I ever watched too. So Pete Docter basically described Mei's situation in the movie as the Hulk, but cuter, when presenting it at the D23 presentation 2021. Yeah, I guess that's true. A lunar eclipse actually happened on May 26, 2002, one day after the events of the film's climax. However, it was not easily visible in the Toronto area. That's funny. Director Domei Shi and production designer Rona Liu cited video games like Pokemon, Earthbound, and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as influences on the film's visual style, with Shi explaining, "Both of us just love the chunky, cute aesthetic, and that was definitely fostered by playing Nintendo games like Pokemon and Earthbound. There's just something so appealing about how they're able to stylize their world in such an appealing, chunky, cute kind of way. When we were looking at the looks development for our movie, we looked at Breath of the Wild and were like, wow, how are they able to make the world feel so beautiful and rich, but are still able to simplify it? I love that. Malin's mother, grandmother, and aunts all wear green clothing. Green is opposite to red on the color wheel, showing their opposition to the red panda within. Mei Lee wears mostly red clothing. When she is considered agreeing to the ritual, she wears a small green hair clip. Love that color. Well, briefly, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? B Reason D gave it 5 stars. How did it manage to be so goofy and profound all at once? Truly a movie that speaks to the heart of anyone who has struggled with perfectionism and darkness, but more than that, it's a story about girlhood and generational trauma wrapped up in a hilarious, colorful little burst of joy. Loved it. Mochi Hates Films gave it 5 stars. Perfectly captured the essence of being an early teen girl, falling in love with boy bands, writing, drawing inappropriate things about crushes you don't want your parents to know you're having. You should have seen my Tumblr blog in 2014. And beginning to break free from the grasp that your parents held on you, whether it was loving or not. I like boys, loud music, and gyrating too, Mei. Aw. That's sweet. Jay Hulin gave it 5 stars. A movie about the shock approach of womanhood, the journey of self-discovery, not wanting to disappoint your parents, the mortification of being perceived as a teen, and the time I accidentally left my laptop open playing 9 Inch Nails Closer and my mom came in. Oh God, not that song. I hate that song. R. Johnson 3 gave it a 1/2 star. I fucking love red pandas, but this shit is ass. Okay.
Wow.
You couldn't give it 1 star for the red panda if you fucking love them. Like, Dub 1033 gave it a 1/2 star. This movie made me want to have my period in my brain. In parentheses, aneurysm. It's not funny.
That's gross.
It's not a funny joke. It's just gross. So True 1999 gave it a 1/2 star. This was a therapy assignment. Wait, like from there. That's really funny. That's the only one allowed to. If you were forced to watch this for therapy, you're allowed to give it a 1/2 star, I think. Well, how would we rate it? How about 4 Town Tickets?
5. 5?
Yeah. 6. I'm just kidding. What have we learned? Well, that growing up is awkward and accept the beast within, monetize it. No, I'm just kidding.
But what I love, I think the power of friendship is something that this movie talks a lot about. And I feel like there can't be enough honest movies about that, like honest depictions about what that looks like. And I feel like there really aren't that many that are accurate to a girl's experience.
Yeah, I agree. Like, girls can be really mean. Yes, this is true. But I feel like sometimes, like, you can just tell this movie's written by a woman. Like, I feel like a lot of times men's depictions of female friendships are always catty. There's competition between them. It's all about having the crush on the same boy or something. And just, honestly, that was not my experience growing up. All the boys my friends had crushes on, I was like, ew, like that guy? And they thought the same about me. So that was my experience. And yeah, I mean, like, you know, this reminds me almost of like Pen 15, which I also think is one of the best depictions of like growing up as a girl, like ever, like in the world. And I love those friends, how they're just so like messy, but they love each other. And like, you know, that's how I feel like it really is.
Yeah, I agree.
Would we watch it again?
Yep.
Yes. Favorite scene?
I do really like it at the Four Town concert when Four Town joins in, you know?
Yeah.
Because at first they're really afraid because they're just sort of like suspended in midair, by their angel wings and stuff. But once they get all that sorted, I love it that they become part of this rescue mission.
Yeah. I would say mine is tough. I love so much of it. I guess I really do like the scene where, she is in the bamboo forest and like sees her mom. And I just love that they, as a whole, made all these characters feel like there's a reason for why they are the way that they are. And that, yeah. So yeah.
Isn't it funny that both of these films have like climactic scenes in a forest?
True. They're very tranquil places. Who wins the You Fool Award? Ming?
Ming's mom.
Maybe. Yeah, Ming's mom. She's kind of, and I'm sure Ming's mom also had something to do with it, but for this movie, Ming's mom should have been a little bit more understanding.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mac, for having this conversation with me about Paranorman and Turning Red.
It was so fun.
And thank you, WoHos, for joining us and for all your support. It means the world of horror to us truly. We appreciate you downloading the show and telling all your friends all about us. Next time, we will be looking at Grafted from New Zealand and The Substance from the US. Remember, WoHos, we love you, and don't go into the basement.
Yay!